right, so one of the very first movements we're going to talk about when we talk about body weight is the simple push-up. And people have been doing push-ups for years. Unfortunately, a lot of people do them totally incorrectly, or they don't try to make it any harder, and so they stay in this modified position forever without actually working on the basics. So if it comes to ever having to fall down or push something off you, push-up is where it all starts. If you can't push yourself up, you're not going to push something off of you. And if you're in self-defense or you're just looking to stay healthy and fit, develop some shoulder strength, some chest strength, some tricep strength, you're going to need all these little tools to help do just that. And there's a number of ways to do push-ups, scaled ways all the way to more advanced ways to benefit you and progress through as you get stronger. So without further ado, let's get into basic movement number one, the push-up. All right, so first things first, with the push-up, it's all about setup. The one thing I tell folks always remember with the push-up or any sort of movement in general is your spine is incredibly important. When we see people doing with their spine and a push-up is all jacked up. If I want to do a correct push-up, I want it to look a certain way. I always tell people your ear, your shoulder, your hips, your knee, and your ankle should be as much in one line as humanly possible. You shouldn't be sagging in the middle. You shouldn't be up here like this. You should be as flat as humanly possible, as long as possible. Because not only is the push-up working across these muscles of the pecs, the shoulders, the triceps, it's also working very heavily across your midsection, your core, to maintain an isometric contraction, which means it locks your body into a contracted position. And that isometric contraction is a massive benefit to your fitness and your muscular ability to create tension in the body and protect the spine. So learning how to do a proper isometric contraction in that plank position is huge. So let's look at this push-up again, a couple things on positioning. First of all, I said hands just outside of shoulder width, fingers and hands turn out in natural position, let the elbows flare out away from the body naturally. Don't try to pin yourself in like this, let them flare out naturally. Body stays in one line, ears, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, all in one line. I'm up on my toes. I put my feet out a little bit wider from each other instead of being right next to each other, just because it helps my lower back because of my back issues. Lower myself all the way down under tension, touch gently, drive myself all the way back up. I think about pushing the ground away, which helps create that nice pushing position for me on the way back up. As I get tired, I think about keeping that midline up. I don't want to create some low-grade porn movie and end up doing weird shit like this, okay? Everything stays tight in one consistent line. So if I'm looking to do a push-up, my hands are just outside of my shoulder width, hands in a natural neutral position, and you'll see that my head stays in line with my spine all the way down the line. So I'm not doing this, I'm not looking up, my head stays in line with my spine just as if I were standing up. So if I'm like this when I'm standing up or sitting up, that's the way my head should be when I'm on the ground. As I go all the way down, chest touches, comes all the way back up. All the way down, all the way back up. When I get to here, I want that nice full extension, not stopping shy here, doing these little mini push-ups. That's not a push-up, this is. We always want to work that full range of motion because that full range of motion taxes the muscle across its entire capable motion range. If you only work this far, when it comes time to work this far, you are not going to be strong and or you're going to fail totally, if not earlier. Folks cannot always do a regular push-up, I get that. So obviously one of the best ways to do that is get on the knees, I cross the feet, spread the knees out a little bit, and same thing, you can start your push-up progression here. This is where it starts. That would be the first step to scaling your push-up. If that's even too hard, you can put yourself up on a bench so that you can actually scale yourself into a bench push-up. Work your way down to the ground, that's another option. Once you start getting comfortable with the push-ups in a good aligned body position, you're not looking under you, you're not looking up, your head's neutral, so you're not tweaking your neck, because as you come into this top position, in this lower position, there's a high likelihood if you're messing with your neck and your spine, you're gonna have one of those little neck tweaks that no one likes to have. So here's the deal. Let's say you're doing a warm-up, a workout, whatever it may be, and it's got, I don't know, so many rounds. Let's say it's got 5 rounds of 10 push-ups per round or something to that effect. And you know you can do probably about 5 standard push-ups before you fail and you gotta go to your knees. Cool, that's what you're gonna aim for every single time. You're gonna do 5 reps on your toes in that nice solid plank position with that neutral spine, locked in core. You can do 5 there, and as soon as you start to fail, then you're gonna go to your knees. Next round comes around, you're like, start on your toes in a nice neutral plank position. Do as many as you can there, then go to your knees. Next round comes around, same thing, good plank position, as many as you can there, then go to your knees. What I don't want to see, but we see too often, is folks instantly defaulting to their knees. You're not going to get stronger, you're not going to get better, you're not going to build that requisite strength needed to transfer over to life and to other external loading. So think about progressing forward like that. Once you get to the point to where now things are getting harder or easier, I should say, and once you get to that point, now you can start adding some variation to it. You can start putting your feet up on a bench so your body is angled downwards. You can start adding a little external load like with a weight vest. That's another option. You can do them on a pair of rings or a TRX suspension system raised above the ground, just about that much, to add a little more stability in there. Then you can transfer that into the dips later on. Another option that works really well is a chest to deck hands-off push-up. So regular push-up position all the way down. As I get to the bottom, I rest for a second, my hands come off the ground, and then drive away. 2, 3, 4. What that does is it takes the stretch shortening cycle out of all the muscles around the shoulder, the elbow, the tricep, the chest, and it basically causes you to go from a moving position to a dead stop and back up. So whereas you may do 25 unbroken regular touch and go push-ups, I can guarantee you when you get to a chest to deck hands-off push-up at the bottom, that 25 is either going to be non-existent or extremely hard. It's going to tax the hell out of these small muscle groups up in the shoulders and the tricep that have a very limited amount of ATP in them, and you're going to tire out a lot quicker, and you're going to get more bang for the buck on the back end. So if you're looking to spice things up, there's another option for you. So one of the other issues that always comes up, people say, hey, it hurts my wrists. Man, I totally get it. My wrists are jacked up from work. Over all the years, I've had a handful of wrist injuries, sprained wrists, fallen, crashes, you name it. So they do not feel good anymore. I get it. So there's a couple options you have. One, you can go fist down like this to keep the wrist neutral the whole time. I turn mine out slightly, and I make sure not to let my wrist buckle and roll, because that's going to ruin your day. The other option, option number 2, the other option, have a set of dumbbells, turn them out slightly so that they're kind of in a neutral pronated position for your hands, and they keep that wrist neutral, and then do your push-ups in between them. This allows you to keep that neutral wrist, doesn't load them in that cocked and locked position that hurts all those little bones in there, or can cause some aggravation to pre-existing injuries, and allows you to get a deeper range of motion action than just even being flat on the hands. So this is an awesome way to go. And later on, as you want to spice it up a little bit with a pair of dumbbells, you can start doing renegade row push-ups to where you do a row on either side. That's 1 rep. Continue that way too. So again, this is where we start. Basic bodyweight movements like the push-up, small progressions forward. Now you start adding on to it as you get better and more comfortable with the range of motion. But above all else, form and function comes first. Neutral spine, tight core, full range of motion so the body knows how to activate through its entire muscular range, and consistency on every single rep. Don't get sloppy, and that's what's going to build that progression over time to get you fitter, faster, stronger, look better naked, stay alive longer. So next time we come back, we're going to start talking about the squat, because the squat is probably the second most functional exercise, if not the most functional exercise that I know of insofar as basic day-to-day activities that we totally neglect. So hang out, we'll talk about squatting next. Peace.